Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Was gone for a couple of days. My bad. Didn't really have much time to bang out a video or the type of quality video that I want to bang out. Don't like to rush it. Don't like to do half-ass videos. So I waited to make this video and direct this video to the Errol Spence fanboys that are talking mad shit. Amped up. Happy as hell that their boy won this past Saturday. I mean, I seen all the comments on my page talking mad shit. I seen the comments on boxing Twitter. I seen some videos. You got cats singing All the Lights and shit. That was a funny ass video though. I got a good chuckle out of that video. I ain't even gonna lie. But it was a good fight between Kell Brook and Errol Spence Jr. this past weekend. I was gutted for Kell Brook, as the British like to say. Devastating defeat. It was a good fight. Competitive fight. It was a fight that Kell Brook was winning after 6 rounds, and then the eye injury occurred. To the left eye of Kell Brook's, it's just an unlucky night for Kell Brook. Broke his over the bone around the 6th or 7th round, and that's what turned the fight around in Errol Spence Jr.'s favor. Kell came out fast, was countering Errol Spence's jab with his left jab, was getting off combinations, was getting the better of Errol Spence early on as Spence was having trouble with Kell Brook's speed, with the counters. He was getting outboxed and he was getting out-skilled. And after the 6th round, it looked like Kell Brook was going to get him. He was going to take him deep, drown him, or possibly pull away from the fight, create even more separation. After 8 rounds, I had Kell Brook slightly ahead, 5 rounds to 3. You could have had it 4-4 even. I'm not going to argue with that score. And the fight turned around the 7th and 8th round, as those 2 rounds, the 7th and 8th round, were very competitive. You could have gave it to either guy. So that's why I ended up with a 5-3 score after 8 rounds. I gave 1 round to each Spence and Brook in the 7th and 8th rounds. It was that close of a fight. I mean, even though I felt Brook was ahead, he was doing well, I was still nervous because Errol Spence, even after he would lose a round, he would come back strong in the next round. And they were just, taking turns at each other. And they were trying to establish their dominance over one another. And Spence, he did show me something in this fight. It wasn't the most spectacular performance, not the most impressive. He was losing the early part of the fight, the first half of the fight. But what I was impressed in this performance was his conditioning. That's what impressed me the most. His gas tank, his stamina. And the second thing that impressed me the most was his chin. I mean, Kell Brook buzzed him a couple of times, but he never seriously hurt Errol Spence in this fight, which was surprising because he landed some clean shots. He landed uppercuts. He landed the straight rights, the lead rights. He was landing some combinations, buzzed Errol Spence early in the fight, but he never had him seriously hurt. And credit to Spence for not getting discouraged, getting through the problems, and turning the fight around in his favor. But the fact remains is that Kell Brook was winning the fight until the injury occurred. Now, Errol Spence caused the injury, fair game. I'm not going to talk about the weight. I'm not going to make any excuses. Kell Brook signed the contract. He signed on the dotted line. He was going to make the weight. It didn't help that there was a second weigh-in because of the IBF 10-pound weigh-in, so he had to deplete himself even longer. But Kell Brook did show the ability to beat Errol Spence early on. Unfortunately, it was just an unlucky night. His face didn't hold up. Spence shattered his left eye, and as the rounds went on, he explained that it wasn't bad as the Golovkin fight, But as the rounds went on, it started getting worse and worse. And Errol Spence finally turned the fight around in his favor, finally establishing dominance over the opponent in the ninth round. He had a big ninth round. It was his best round up until that point. Whooped Kell Brook's ass in that round, and he saw the end coming, as he wasn't sure if Kell Brook could bounce back, but Kell Brook fought on for another round, showed heart in the 10th, got dropped, pretty much just went down because of the pain he was enduring in his left eye. And he was trying to get his vision back. He couldn't see, which is why he kept getting tagged with Spence's jabs in the second half of the fight, as his vision was impaired. But Kell Brook fought back, but that was pretty much his last comeback in the fight. In the 11th round, it was pretty much over. Spence kept tagging him in the eye, and Kell Brook just kept feeling the pain. And I'm not going to give Kell Brook too much shit for quitting. I mean, it was a devastating defeat. He got submitted in front of 27,000 of his fans. But I never fought with a broken orbital bone before, so I don't know what it feels like, especially fighting with that injury for multiple rounds. Some guys are just not willing to fight to the finish when it comes to eye injuries. The eyes are a sensitive area, and some guys are just not willing to put their sight on the line. Some guys would rather fight another day. But some guys are willing to fight to the finish, and you'll end up like Antonio Margarito, who needs corrupted commissions to get licensed to fight in Mexico. Or you can end up like Lucas Matisse. He got punched in the eye, quit, and now he's living to fight another day. He's going to get another opportunity. And Brook, he couldn't see. He was losing on 2 of the judges' scorecards, so there was really no point to go on. He wasn't going to get the knockout in the fight. He hit Errol Spence with his best shots, and Errol Spence didn't go anywhere. And Errol Spence still looked relatively fresh at the time of the stoppage, which was surprising. He answered some questions. He didn't beat the best version of Kell Brook. It was shocking. If you watch the Golovkin fight and you watch this fight and you see the complete transformation of Kell Brook's body, this is more proof that once you go up, you have to stay up. You shouldn't go move back down, or you're just going to have the Roy Jones effect. You put on all that muscle, then you have to lose it. Takes a toll on your body, takes away your strength, takes away your durability. And Kell Brook just wasn't that durable. His legs weren't as sturdy as before. He wasn't as sharp as I would have liked. He wasn't throwing as many combinations that I would have liked. But no excuses. Errol Spence got the job done. Finally, an American fighter, a Heyman fighter, for instance, finally gets the job done on his own. He doesn't need any corruption, doesn't need any gift decisions, doesn't need any bullshit punch stats. Errol Spence got the job done. He didn't beat the best version of Kell Brook, but he beat one of the guys to beat in the welterweight division. He was undefeated at welterweight. He was making the 4th defense of his title in Kell Brook. So he was the longest reigning champion of the welterweight champions at the current moment. And Errol Spence beat him. But I'm not going to yet crown Spence as the number 1 welterweight. I'm not ready to do that just yet. He needs to do a little more. I do rate him above Keith Thurman at the moment because his caliber of win is better than anything Keith Thurman has done so far at welterweight. I rate Errol Spence at number 2 at the current moment. And Errol Spence will have to he has to prove that he's the best PBC welterweight. He has to get that fight with Keith Thurman. He has to beat him. And a lot of people are going to favor Errol Spence in that fight. But it'll be a different style matchup. Keith Thurman will bring a different style. He fights nothing like Kell Brook. Kell Brook's a distance fighter that fights in the pocket, and he can be hit with straight punches like jabs. Keith Thurman will provide movement. He'll use his legs. And Spence is going to have to track down a moving target. and also a counterpuncher in Keith Thurman. So it'll be a different fight, stylistically. But that fight is not going to happen next. Thurman's not going to fight Spence coming off an injury. And it'll be a good question of who Spence fights next. Because if you look at the rankings at welterweight for the IBF, there's really nothing that I could see. There's nothing I could figure out there of who he'll fight. So I'm going to have to wait till next month to see where the rankings, they change every month. So let's see if maybe a Haymanized guy enters the rankings, or a guy that they do business with. That could be the next opponent for Spence, as he'll make a voluntary defense, most likely in his hometown. But it was a good fight. It was been quite some time since I was nervous watching a fight. I mean, it lived up to his billing. It was competitive. There was drama. And there was a knockout. There was a stoppage. And Errol Spence has arrived. He's a new IBF welterweight champion. Congratulations to him. He proved me wrong. I just didn't know enough about Spence to really pick him. I wasn't sure about his chin. I wasn't sure about his conditioning. I wasn't sure about his poise to go over there and try to conquer in another country. And on that night, he was a conqueror. He was an Alexander. He got the job done. Didn't need corruption. Didn't need a gift decision. He did it. And now he's one of the guys to beat in the welterweight division. One of the top elite fighters in the division. Congratulations to him. And for Kell Brook, back-to-back devastating defeats, back-to-back broken orbital bones on each eye. It's going to be a long road back. It's going to be a tough road back. He's going to have to go through another operation. He's going to have to go through... he's going to have to be on the shelf for a time to recover. And he's going to have to consider moving up in weight, because he's been at that weight since he was a teenager. He's now 31 years old. It's going to be a tough road back. Psychologically, mentally, that's going to be the hard part. He's going to have to ask himself, does he want to get hit in the eye again? That's always going to be in the back of his mind. Is it going to go again if he gets hit in that spot? But Kell Brook will be back most likely. I don't see him retiring off this defeat. And the Spence fanboys have been talking mad shit, thinking they're Nostradamuses because they picked the favorite. But y'all can have that one, y'all. It's all good. Y'all can have that one. Y'all can be happy for now. Because in about 2 weeks, all that's going to change. All those smiles are going to turn into frowns when Kovalev knocks Andre Ward the fuck out in about 2 weeks. And Boxing Truth will be vindicated. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.